Yeah, no worries, dude. What part of Austin you live in?
I live up north, far west in Mopac area.
Oh, okay, yeah. I lived up there for a little while. I worked at Kirby Lane Cafe for like a year and a half.
Right on. You're not in Austin anymore?
No, I'm in Houston, man. I got severely hooked on like going and shit in Austin. Like it was bad, bro. And I was like, I gotta go home or I'm gonna die. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review Podcast, man. I got another special guest from Austin, Texas in the house. We got Dylan with Dylan Disaster in the Revelry, former bassist / guitarist of Nowhere Bound. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll probably have heard that name at least a few times recently. So what's up, Dylan? How's your day been going, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Had a really good day.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah.
I appreciate if Natchet from Nowhere Bound, the guitar player, if he hears that intro, he's gonna crack up because you called me the bass player.
Shit,
guitar player.
Dude,
it's a little inside joke. It's all good.
That's awesome, man. You know what's funny is throughout the episodes of this little show we got going here, man. I've had a lot of people that will say something and they'll like giggle a little bit, and I look at them kind of funny, and they're like, "Oh no, so and so will get it." And I think that's pretty rad, man. I got a lot of stuff that between me and my friends or my wife and I would say something. I'll say something to her across the room and nobody else will understand what we mean. We'll start laughing. But yeah, dude, how was your Christmas?
Christmas was fine, man. Just kind of hung out at the house. I went and saw my brother. He works at the Hole in the Wall down the street.
Okay.
And, yeah, just went and saw my brother and hung out at the house and FaceTime with mom, and that's about it.
Yeah, we did some FaceTiming too. We have family in Australia, so
oh damn.
We have to FaceTime them. We can't really even call them. It's weird. I guess we could call them, but FaceTime is, I guess, a little bit more appropriate when you don't get to see them very often. But yeah, hung out with family, dude. Christmas is, as you get older, it's so weird because I've got 3 kids, so my Christmases have just completely flip-flopped. Like I am nowhere near the priority list. I am just the guy that brings the boxes, and I kind of like it, man. There's a lot less focus on me, and I get to watch my kids be, kids, and it's pretty fun, man. Being sober now, it's nice to have like time with my family where I'm not like trying to hide something, or I'm in a bathroom, or I'm gacked out on the couch sitting there trying to be still. It's nice, man. Nice to talk with family, dude. So, okay, so you got this new project, or I guess I don't know how new the project is, but a new record you said sometime in the spring with Dylan Disaster and Revelry, correct?
Yeah. The project itself has been around for since 2019-ish, I guess. I mean, I put the band together like 2017 when I started writing my last record, Remission. And then we had our first like full band show, Dylan Disaster and the Revelry, at our album release in August 2019. So that's kind of when the band like really came out.
Yeah.
And then, it was like we had really good momentum, and then obviously COVID happened 2020, so we got like stopped in our tracks, and we had a lot of like member changeover over the last couple of years, and while I've been writing this new record. And then yeah, we just went and recorded a brand new record at the end of September. We went up and recorded it in Asbury Park with Pete Steinkopf from the Bouncing Souls.
Dude, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool experience, man. He's a great dude. He was really awesome to work with. He's almost done mixing it, and then yeah, we're trying to get it out in springtime, maybe May or April.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I can't wait to hear the whole thing, man. It's gonna be great. Dude, the Pete, bro. I didn't expect you to say that. You started talking, and I was like, oh shit. I've been looking up to that guy for a long time, man. I've got Hopeless Romantic tattooed on my knuckles, and it's like a dual meaning tattoo.
Hell yeah.
That's freaking rad. Bouncing Souls is a great band.
They're one of my absolute favorites.
Right? They have like, dude, so when they did that 10 Stories High record this year, I don't know if you ever saw that. I did a review on it, right? And so like it was the strangest thing, because when I first heard the record, and I'm so glad that this happened and I was able to explain it the right way, I like listened to it and I was like, man, I guess, man, it was like, that's all right. And then I kept listening to it and listening to it. And I was like, oh no, the issue is that there's no dips. The quality is just kind of high across the board, and it's not a real long record. So there's no real opportunities for it to like rebound and where you go, oh no, this song's really great. No, there's none of that. It's just a good record all the way through. And they kind of do that a lot with their albums, man. They're just like really great from start to finish.
Yeah, I really like how that band has evolved. They've just really grown into. I feel like they've aged very well. Their new stuff. Did you hear? What was it called? Volume 2 that they did. It was like acoustic covers of all their songs.
No, because when that came out, I was in the middle of a chaotic part of my life, and I thought it was a live set. And I didn't realize until like maybe like a year or two ago that wasn't what it was. So I've heard like bits and pieces of it, but I haven't heard it like all the way through. Should I go check that one out?
If you're into acoustic stuff, I think it's fantastic. It's awesome. They did like such a killer job of like doing their songs acoustic style.
Dude, not all songs work out acoustically, but I would imagine there's probably do.
Yeah, I mean they chose the right ones for sure.
Nice, dude. Yeah. That's a big part of it is choosing the right ones. It's kind of like building your own record. You got to go through all your. Actually, that's a good question. So with your album, did you have? I know Chris told me with the Generation Exit record, they just kind of wrote 10 songs, recorded it. That was the record. Did you do the same thing with yours, or did you write a bunch of songs? Learn them all, practice them all, and then pick out a certain amount, or how'd your recording process go? Or your writing process, I guess is the more appropriate word, writing process go with this new record?
Yeah, it's definitely different the way I do it than how Generation Exit did it, because they were fortunate to just like, they got together, they started this band, they all got room, and they just started writing together, which is awesome. I don't really work that way, or at least I haven't in a while. Dylan Disaster and Revelry has been like my project. I write everything. I demo out all the songs, and then I send them to the band, and they kind of learn it, and then they add their little flavor on it. So it takes a while for me to flesh out a record and a bunch of songs. So I've been writing it over the last like 3 years or something.
Okay.
And I'll bring it to the band. They'll do their thing. I always accept their input. If they have an idea for something, we can do it. If not, if I'm not feeling it, we won't do it. They've always respected my vision.
That's awesome.
So they let it breathe and let me do the thing. And I always respect their opinions and appreciate their input. But there was with this one, like I wrote all the songs, or I've been writing these songs, and there's probably been like maybe 3 out of these 12 tracks that just didn't make the record. And for no reason other than I just don't think they fit sonically on the record. There's another song too. It's called Drinker 2. I wrote a drinking song a couple years ago, like with the intention of writing a fun drinking song.
Yeah.
But like I'm conflicted with it because I don't drink anymore.
Yes, I knew that's where you were headed with that.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I can let it go, I can play it, but like internally I have a little conflict with it. I also don't think that it really fit on the record as far as sound goes, so I kind of use that as my excuse to like mix it. But it's something we're going to record down the line and release as a B-side, because it is a really good song. It is exactly what I wanted it to be, a fun drinking song. I just don't want to promote it on my record.
I mean, I think it takes a lot of courage to be able to not only admit that, but talk about it and be like, oh man, it is what it is. I've changed a little bit. And I think it's nice to be able to take a collection of songs and be able to, like when I was playing music, and I'm really glad that I have been able to say that when I was playing music, because if I had never played music, stuff like this wouldn't make as much sense to me. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to be able to go, yeah, I didn't fall in love with this song so much so that I have to have it on this record, because it could ruin a record, It takes a lot of maturity and wisdom to be able to go, this one doesn't need to go there, man. Let's just put this off. We don't got to throw it in the trash. Let's just not put it on this particular project. I think that's pretty smart.
Yeah, it's not always easy to do. I get pretty attached to my songs. This new record in particular, I had written an intro for the record. I've had it for years. I just like never been able to like really lock down the lyrics for it. So like it just I always thought that it was going to be the intro to the record. And then like at the 11th hour before we went to the studio, like a month before, I like just scrapped the entire thing and I wrote a whole new intro, and it's like a million times better. And I was like, well, I'm glad I did that.
That's
the
awesome.
whole band was the same way too. They're like, this is much better. I'm like, it is.
I've had situations similar, not quite like that, but similar, where I had an idea of something for a long, long time, and it just never. When it got time to execute, I was like, all right, I don't know if I'm feeling this anymore. My buddy's like, hold on, man. What? We've been doing this for 3 months, and now you change your mind. I'm like, I know, dude. I'm a pain in the ass, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, dude. I do that shit all the time. Like, hey, I know we've been playing this song like this for a year and a half, but we're doing the chorus like this now.
Yeah, dude. I have a problem. Go ahead.
I was gonna say my dudes understand, because like I have like a recording rig at my house, so like I'm constantly tweaking these demos. Like I want to explore, like pre-production is a really long amount of time for me, because I record this song, and if I have a new idea for it, I want to make sure everything's fleshed out as much as possible before I get to the studio. So I'm going to try all these ideas, and if something works, we're going to change it. And that's how it is. I mean, if it doesn't work, then we won't change it. But I want to be able to try everything, you know?
And you should. I think that's the way you'll get a better product. I think so. Okay. I'm glad this popped in my head. So what you just told me is that it took you a while to like write this whole project. And I like that. I remember a day very fondly where we got one album from a band we liked every year or a year and a half. It took them a long time to write it. As a group, it still took them a long time. Then they had to go record it, mix and master it. It was a long process. They'd start promoting it. With the way things are today, especially like in hip hop, but even in like punk music, dude, like they're dropping shit like just all the time. While I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, I like somebody that can take their time and write, let's say, a batch of songs, and you get an EP or an album out of it that are all good songs, versus just dropping stuff so frequently. I feel like you get a lot of whiffs that way. What's your opinion on that? Do you think about that at all?
I think about it plenty. It's very apparent to me that it makes sense to constantly be dropping singles so you remain relevant.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really like making records. I like making whole pieces. I like, it's like, it's all like one thing, you know. There's a word, I don't know what the word is I'm thinking of, but I like having a whole thing instead of just one single here and there. Man, what is it? There's a term or a word I'm thinking of. It's irrelevant.
Well, you want like a complete piece of work, not just a portion of it.
Yeah,
Thank you. That is a yeah.
I like when things are. I like making a cohesive piece, like front to back. The record is like one cohesive piece, and I don't know. When you're just dropping singles all the time, it's, you know, you can write a cool song, you make a cool video, and make a cool single. But I don't know. There's just something a little more special about making, you know, a full length album comes out on vinyl. Something that's like takes you on a journey, man. And I've always liked that. And it's a bit of a struggle for me, because I know it's not the most practical. It's definitely not the most financially practical to just like spend your money and making a record, when you can just drop a single every month if you wanted to. And I could definitely do that. But I don't know. I'm not in the place where I want to do that right now. It's something that I've thought about, like maybe doing after this record, because like I said, I kind of like to make records and make a big cohesive piece. And then maybe after this record, I might start thinking about doing some stuff like that. Like with that song Drink or Two, it's probably going to be a single. I could just like do it by itself or something.
That's smart. It seems like if you have a vision, why deviate from that vision, right? Go ahead, do it the way you want. Now, do you have a like regular job outside of music?
I mean, I do a lot of gig work, driving stuff, Uber, Amazon Flex, or whatever.
Okay, so yeah, that would make it a little less important for you to drop something every month. You can take your time if you have another source of income, is what I was getting at. Sorry. So if you have more income coming in outside of music, then you don't have to just go, oh, it's important that I go, you know, drop a 6 out of 10 song here so that I can make a little money, whenever you could hopefully drop, you know, a classic album versus a bunch of mediocre songs. Mediocre is probably the wrong word, but I talked to an artist about an idea I had. It may sound crazy. I'd really love to have your opinion on it, actually. I said, hey, man, I got this idea. Let me know what you think. I said, we should start in January. And either every 3 months or every 4 months, whatever you decide, or even every 2 months, I don't care. I have the money to do it either way. We should do a single with 2 songs on it. And that way you can still drop music every couple of months, every 6 8 weeks, drop music. And I was like, and at the end of the year, we take the money that we made from the cassette single, excuse me, and then we put out a piece of vinyl with the whole collection of songs. That's the only way that my brain could make sense out of doing something so frequent like that. Because outside of that, I think it makes sense just to drop the album. I really like full, complete pieces of artwork too.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people do that too, and we're gonna drop one single, maybe 2, I guess, before the record comes out. But I've known some people who, I mean, they only did it digitally though, but they released like a 3 or 4 song EP every quarter for a year, and then they released it as like a full length. But I mean,
that's dope.
I mean, it's cool, but at that point, it's unlikely you're going to move the full length because you'd already sold all the EPs.
That's kind of why I wanted to do it like 2-song single, because it's so cheap to make. And then at the end of the year, do it on vinyl, because it would be different. Because I know people that would rather just not buy the cassettes and have the vinyl. I know people that would want all of it, and I know people that would rather have the cassettes than the vinyl. So it would appease a lot of people. But yeah, I guess if you're doing it on like a 7-inch, a 7-inch, a 7-inch, a 7-inch, and then an LP, that does kind of sound like a little overkill. But it's very subjective. I mean, everybody's gonna like what they like a little different. But
sure,
this music stuff is complicated, man.
Yeah, I mean, everyone likes to operate differently for sure.
Yeah,
it's ever evolving too. I mean, there's always new ways to put your music out. I mean, I think releasing singles is smart if you want to stay relevant. Like, my social media is not very active, which isn't great for a music career, but that's because I'm not putting singles out all the time. I don't really always have stuff to do. That being said, we are going to make a music video for our first single for the new record. So we're gonna make a music video in like a week or so, and then hopefully drop the first single in like end of January, February, or something like that.
Nice, dude. Hell yeah. Well, I mean, as soon as that's available for me to look at and put up a review or whatever, let me know so I can do that. I look forward to hearing it. Okay, let's talk about your music a little bit. I want to know. I've heard enough of it to kind of have a pretty good idea what it sounds like. But what are your influences? What are some of your favorite bands? And was there a particular, like idea that you had for this record?
A particular what? You broke up there.
So okay, so like what? Okay, let me ask it in 2 parts. So what? First off, what are some of your bigger influences, and what do you listen to just in general? Like, what do you listen to that inspires you? What are some of your favorite bands?
Oh man. Question, huh? I listen to I mean, the Bouncing Souls is one of my favorite bands. The Bronx has been one of my favorite bands for a very long time.
Oh, the Bronx. I haven't heard them in a long time.
Yeah. I'm from the East Coast too, so I grew up on stuff like A and Kill Your Idols and some of like Long Island hardcore bands like the Movie Life and Kill Your Idols. Silent Majority.
Dude, Kill Your Idols is awesome, bro. I love
they're
that.
They're from the town over from where I grew up. They're fucking awesome. Stuff like Avail and Hot Water Music. I listen to some.
Hot Water Music, bro.
Yeah, I always liked Avail quite a bit more, but
really,
yeah, they're just kind of I was into Avail.
I don't know if I can even recall some of their stuff, dude. I'm writing that down too. I'm going to go dig into their discography when we're done here.
Yeah, Avail's been killing it lately, man. They came back a couple years ago and they've just been playing.
No shit.
There, and I haven't seen any, unfortunately, but they've been killing it out there. I definitely have some stuff I could recommend to you too. Band Silent Majority. I also listen to stuff like Kid Dynamite and None More Black. I like that kind of East Coast sort of. Those East Coast vibes, man, because I'm from New York, like I said. So, yeah, but it ranges. I like acoustic stuff. Tim Barry does acoustic stuff. Dave House.
Yeah.
Vinny Caruana, Billy Liar is cool. Sammy K. I got all kinds of acoustic stuff.
Sammy K is one that I just got introduced to by Chris, and I really like Sammy K.
Yeah, he turned me onto it too.
I've always liked Chuck Reagan's solo stuff. One of my favorite shows I ever went to was the Revival tour with him and Laura Jane Grace, before she was Laura Jane Grace, And who else was on that? Oh, Ben Nichols from Lucero
And
was on
Tim
that
Barry.
tour. I think Tim Barry was on that too. That was a dude. What
Yeah.
a lineup, dude! My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing, man. Okay, well, now that we kind of know what you listen to, that actually explains a little bit of what how your music got to sound the way it sounds. But was there a particular idea you were trying to a story you were trying to tell while writing this album, or was it just let me write the best songs I can write and then we'll just go from there?
There wasn't really an intention at the beginning. It's kind of the same way it is for writing songs for me, like a song and not really know what it's about until I've written it. And then I can look back at it and kind of see what it means to me. And the record's kind of the same way. It's called All Roads. It was originally titled All Roads End, but it felt a little somber. And the way I guess I'm thinking about it now is it's kind of twofold. One, in a service level, I think sonically it makes a good travel album. If you're driving around and taking a road trip or something, I feel like it's a good like road record, you know?
Heck yeah.
That's on the surface. And then underneath that, I mean, it's like, I don't know. This is probably something we're thinking about because people are going to be asking me this question. But like, it means to me, like, you are where you are because of where you've been, and where you are is taking you where all roads lead here, basically, is kind of the underlying theme of the record. And typically I wouldn't call my records like conceptual, but they're thematic.
Okay.
So I think all of the songs on this record kind of fit into that theme. It's either something that I've experienced in my past that brought me here, or it's something I expect to experience in my future, or it's something I'm experiencing right now. So it's
like
kind of just, it's kind of what it means, man. Like all roads lead here is kind of
Dude,
what I'm
that's
going
awesome.
for, and that's kind of how it feels to me.
Dude, that's amazing. I really like the way you put that. I think the last few years, maybe like the last decade of my life. So I don't know how old you are. I'm 41. I'll be 42 in like 2 months, right?
39.
So nice. Okay, so we're about the same age then. So, oh man, when's your birthday, dude?
September 4th.
Nice, dude. A big 4-0, huh?
Oh, yeah.
So I think that I one thing about, I guess, our generation of punk rock, specifically punk rock, with the bands that are still writing music and still trying to stay relevant, I've noticed that their lyrics have kind of changed over the years. And the way you were just describing this record that you wrote feels to me like, oh man, great. I'll like this. This is going to be a guy that's in a similar place in his life that I'm in. So it's going to be very relatable. I guess that's a long way of saying all that. It's probably going to be very relatable to somebody like me. And I appreciate that. I think that's great.
I appreciate that too. I think that's something that I've come to experience with my records is people seem to find them very relatable. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if you got to dig into my last record or not. It's called Remission though. And it was about like the ebbs and flows of a state of depression over the course of a couple of years. Like, you know, I wrote the songs while I was going through this thing over the course of a couple of years. And like some of the songs are highs, some of them low. And the record itself ebbs and flows like that. And then by the end of the record, you come out of it. So you experience that state of remission. And it really is present on the way the record sounds and feels. And I've had a number of people tell me that it was very relatable to them and it resonated with them. So it's something I've come to experience, and I'm grateful that people recognize that and have that experience.
So I don't like to act like I'm somebody I'm not, and I certainly don't lie to people. So I've just become familiar with your solo stuff recently, so I haven't dug into that yet.
Yeah,
but I can assure you that I will. That's kind of the point of this whole thing, though, man. Is like, I'm never gonna know everything about the stuff that I love. I'm just not.
It's too much.
It's just too much, and I hate it when people go, "Oh yeah," and you can tell they didn't. It's like, nah, bro, but I will now. You know, especially like about the Avail stuff. I don't know that I ever listened to that band, but now that you were so stoked about them, Well, I'm gonna go check them out and go relist. I'm sure there's some stuff I had at least one of their records at some point, but
Yeah.
you know, now I get to go re-dig into it. I think that's what this stuff should be. Is it should just be a constant state of evolution, a constant state of growth. I don't know. We come from similar backgrounds with addiction, I think, so I think that kind of probably makes sense to you. You constantly there's nowhere where you're going to get to a point to where you're perfect. It's not going to happen. In any kind of facet of life, whether it be like your hobbies and your lifestyle, or your job, or you're being a father, or you're being a son, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that we all should recognize a little bit more. I mean, we're going to get real deep on this podcast. It looks like, man. I like it, man.
Bro.
It's awesome.
I'm
That's
about
awesome,
it.
dude. That shit's awesome, man. I tell my kids a lot, man. I think this is something that I'm so glad that I grew up in. Like, so okay. So I was talking about this with somebody else. Like, I grew up. My mom was super poor. My dad was never around, right? And I was always in trouble. She was real strict. And somebody goes, yeah, but if your mom wasn't like that, you would never be who you are right now. And you seem to like who you are. And I was like, dude, thank you. Because that's how I tell my mom. She's always like, oh, I wish I could have done better. And I'm like, what? You don't like what I'm doing? Like, I'm killing it right now, man. I'm happy. I don't make a lot of money, but I'm not broke. I'm happy. I got badass kids, man. I'm like, what are you talking about? Man. Yeah, I'm like, you made this, Mom. What are you talking about? But I'll be telling my kids, I'm like, hey, like we have two mottos in this house. You either win or you learn. No losing, man. Let's not cry about some shit. Let's just either win or we figure something out.
Yeah.
And then I tell them when they're getting in trouble, I'm like, hey, I don't expect perfection. What do I expect? And they're like, effort. And I'm like, yeah, effort. So like, effort is all it takes, man. You just take some effort. I don't remember what a point was I was trying to make, but there was a point there somewhere. But yeah, anyhow.
I get that, man. I get that. I mean, would you say either win or you learn, right?
Yeah, when do you learn, man?
I like that, man. It makes. I mean, that's how life is. Either, I mean, even a loss technically is kind of a win because you have the opportunity to learn something from it.
That's how I look at it. You want to hear where dude, the funniest shit is how I came up with that. People think like, oh, that must have been something you came up with for your kids. And I'm like, nope, that shit happened to me when I was in junior high. I got called a fucking loser all the time. And then when I didn't do something well enough, it made me feel like a loser. So I started to flip it around and make myself feel better. And I was like, fuck it, man. I'm either winning some shit or I'm going to learn something. And it just, my whole life, I felt like that. And
that's great, man.
So,
mindset,
yeah, it's pretty
right?
funny. Yeah. But do you mind talking about, can we talk about addiction a little bit and sobriety?
Yeah, sure, man. I'm all about it. I'm always down to talk about that kind of stuff. It's been a game changer for me. It's changed my whole life. So I'm definitely
mine as well.
Okay.
Before I talk about myself at all, I would like to hear some of your story, if you don't mind. What I want to tell people is the reason that I would like to talk about this is because I think there's a lot of people out there that are ashamed of something, man. Dude, don't be. This is a place of comfort, and anybody's welcome to talk with me. My Instagram, my email is open 24 hours a day to anybody. This is something I've been doing for years on this channel, on my other channel even. So like, if you need to talk to somebody, I'm always here to listen. And second, dude, we need encouragement. It like bad. We're always told how fucking dumb we are or how bad we are. Dude, nobody's perfect. Nobody, including the person telling you that you're a shithead. So what's your story, man? What was your?
Yeah, I mean, like, and some of the things that I've learned in my sobriety and going to some meetings was that it's important to share your story, if not for yourself, it's to maybe to potentially inspire other people, because you never really know who's going to relate to it. But as far as my story goes, man, in my sobriety, I came to learn the term gray area drinker. It's basically where the majority of people sit as far as alcohol goes. You know, we use it for whatever we use it for, social settings, for our depression, even to celebrate. But most people, let me just rephrase that. I'm going to say so I'm not talking about anybody else, but I would drink for those same reasons, but it never really hit a point where I hit rock bottom. So I was kind of just like in this limbo, and there was always this like underlying unhappiness beneath it. And I never really knew what it was. I come from a long line of drinkers, but I recognized that there was something going on. I stopped drinking when I was 26. I stopped drinking for a year. I recognized some of the differences in my life, but I also wasn't secure enough in myself to really like lean into it and like be that person. So I started drinking again. But then like around when I was 36, 10 years later, I just kind of stopped. I was just fucking done. My body hurt and I was kind of unhappy. And I was like drinking less and less. I was drinking gluten-free beer because like it just fucking hurt to drink. And then I didn't really have the intention to like stop drinking altogether. I just stopped for a while. And then after a couple months, probably like 3 or 4 months, like my brain just felt like it was on fire because I felt so alive and I was so excited about life. And like I was learning all these new things and I just filled with this energy and my body felt really good. And it was really intense. Like I felt really high on life.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. That's just because, I mean, it was 20 plus years of drinking, of poisoning myself. And then I stopped for a little while and all that stuff started coming out. All this stuff started coming up. And there was a weight off of me. And it was really intense. Like if you drink for that long, once you stop, things are going to be different. You have to learn you have to learn how to live again. Like, cause it was just so habitual. I used it every time I went out and I couldn't socialize without it because I just never gave myself the opportunity to learn how to do that. So I stopped drinking. And then I guess like a year and a half after that, I started going to meetings. I went through a breakup and then I started feeling really alone in my sobriety because I had my partner and I didn't have my partner. And then I was just sober by myself and all my friends were still drinking. But I started going to meetings and that's where I found like community and like that there's a sober culture and community that exists where people have had the similar experiences and they're willing to share them and they're willing to listen to your experience. And I was welcomed by strangers with open arms and made me feel like it was okay to not drink. I didn't have to go back and I was going to be fine this way. And that's really what changed it for me. Once I really like leaned in and started going to meetings and talking about it to people, that's when it started clicking, man. That's when life started happening and I started feeling good about myself. I mean, that's some of it. Yeah. I mean, I can ramble on a little bit.
No, sure. It sounds pretty familiar to me. I'll give you a real quick summary of some of the nonsense I was into, man. Like, it sounded to me like you were talking about in my world of functioning addict, where it was similar, not the same quite, but like it was always an excuse to get high. There's always a reason I needed to do it. And it turned into a thing where like I would wake up and my entire day, like all I wanted to do was like get right, get my meds, as I used to call it, man. And like, I didn't care about anything else, dude. It was so crazy. And I spent about somewhere in the neighborhood of like 10 or so years, like strung out, dude. Like I didn't even do the day that I was sitting in my bathroom and I was getting ready to leave. I was like brushing my teeth in the mirror and I looked in the mirror and I just realized I was like, oh shit, I'm a drug addict. I was like, I didn't plan. Yeah. I was like, I didn't plan on this. It all started with some bullshit, man. It was take a pill here and there for fun. And then I got injured and they started just giving me bottles of the shit with no warning of how dangerous it could be. I didn't know, man. I was ignorant to all of it. And that turned into like heroin, crack, all of it, dude. I did everything, man. I sold it all, did it all. It was so crazy, man. Like the fact that I can tell people that I did all that is so nuts to me because I'm 10 years clean. And dude, it's even today, like I need a knee surgery and I just won't get it because I'm just like, I don't want to have opiates around me, dude. Like I just don't. And
well, congratulations on 10 years.
That's what's up, man. Thank you, man. When I realized it was 10 years, it was so weird because my son is 10. And that's the correlation of like my son saved my life. He was born in May of 2013, and I got sober in July of 2013. And it took me a couple of months to get it figured out, but I was determined, man. I held him once and was like, "Oh, dude, nah, fuck that. This kid's awesome." I was like,
Can't go
this
back.
is no." I was like, "Bro, I can't." I mean, I sold all my shit. Like, I was like, "No, I don't want to be around any of this stuff, dude." And like, people, like, I stopped going to shows. I stopped going. I was like, "Nah, bro." Like, and it wasn't anybody else's fault. Like, I was my own worst enemy. I couldn't be around casual anything. I didn't want to be around drinking. I stopped bartending. I bartend. People are like, "How do you bartend? You don't even drink." I'm like, "Bro, it's easy, man. I don't want it around me. I'm good. I got to make a living, dude. I'm good." And yeah, it takes a lot of courage to admit you got to change some shit. And I'm surprised that you went to meetings later, but when you told me that it's because you had to split up and then you felt lonely, I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense, dude. Like, there's so much there." I don't go to meetings. I never did the meeting thing, but I've been to a couple of meetings and I didn't have any. I liked it. It never really worked out to where that's what I did. But I have friends that do it. I fully support that. And I encourage people to do it. And it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful scene most of the time. And I think it's wonderful that exists.
Yeah. Like I said, it was super helpful to me. I didn't like, I went to less conventional AA meetings. There's one here at the Austin Zen Center. It was meditation and recovery. So it was like a Buddhist kind of principles. And then I went to another one that was, I think it's like non-secular, but I never did the 12 steps or anything, but really what I said, what I got out of it more than anything was the sense of community and, just feeling like I wasn't alone in this. Like, I'm not the only person who deals with this. And there's a lot of people that go through this and who have it far worse. And I mean, not to compare stories, my journey is my journey, but but just to see that people go through it and people are willing to talk about it, and there are other people, like-minded individuals who are down to change and want to grow in that way. And I was very, very grateful for it.
It's amazing, dude. It's amazing. I like that. The reason I keep smiling like a dumbass is because I really like the way that you're wording this, because it's exactly how I feel about it, man. It's everything that you said is exactly how I feel, and it's my story's my story. There's people that had it worse than me, and there's people that didn't have it as bad as me. It doesn't matter like the degree of how bad your problem is or whatever you're going through. I think that the world is a very, very hard place, and I think that, without getting too political, I think America is in a very soft part of its existence, man. We are the softest fucking people, man. And the world is so I understand addiction so deeply, because I understand, like, I was born into it. Like, I didn't know this until later in my life, but my dad was a drug addict. He had pill problems and he was a hypochondriac. And so, like, I'm like, oh, well, no freaking wonder I had this like desire in me to just let me have it. Like, even I'll have dreams, dude. I'll wake up in a panic because I'm like, did I get high yesterday? And I'm like, no, dude, I was dreaming. Like, I have very vivid, real dreams, and it's so crazy. And I'm so glad that you came out on the other side of this, like, seemingly happy and healthy. I'm really happy about that. It's wonderful to see another one on the positive.
Very much so, man. I honestly have never felt better in my life.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And yeah, it's crazy to think too. My father is an alcoholic, and it runs in my family. I love my dad, but we had some rough times, and it's crazy to think that, like, you could see how I saw how alcohol affected my father, and I still wound up drinking the same way that he did.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. But I mean, it's, as like a little boy, you look up to your dad, or I looked up to my dad. So I saw the way he handled problems, and I followed his footsteps, and I was like, oh, that's how you deal with things. So that's why I'm assuming that's why I did it.
Dude, I would go into these places to, like, re-up or whatever, and I would see people, and I remember, like, in stages, I'd be like, oh man, at least I'm not that bad. That's crazy, bro. I'll never be like that. And then, like, 6 months later, I'm like, oh shit, well, at least I'm not that bad. And in reality, I'm like, no, I am that bad. I just happen to have a little bit more money in my pocket today than that person does. Otherwise, I'm that bad. And yeah, dude, it's you become what you surround yourself with. This is what I always tell people. If you want to stop doing drugs or drinking, at least for a while, you have to stop being around people doing that stuff. And that was my hardest part, was getting away from people that I love.
That was hard for me too, man. Like I said, I did have an experience where I was feeling really lonely, and I felt like I had exiled myself basically, because I mean, that's the world that I live in, playing music and punk rock. People like to party and drink and do drugs and stuff. And I didn't want to be around it. So like I had to step away for a while, and like I said, felt exiled. I did it to myself. But I stepped away for a while, and then once I became comfortable with it, I went back, and now I love going to shows and being around people because it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm like, I'm good. I have a better time now drinking my fucking Topo Chico and watching the band play, and then I'll leave when I want to leave. I don't gotta fucking worry about it.
Dude, there's no Ubers involved. I'm usually the guy that's like, hey, you need some help, bro? I can get you home, dude. It feels, man.
I love driving people home. I'm like, oh, you need a ride home, buddy. I got you. Let's go.
Bro, I'm so down with that. And I like waking up and not feeling like shit.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's great.
I just 3 weeks ago, like 3 weeks today, I was in my bathroom, and I'm new to this house. We just moved here like 3-4 months ago. And in our bathroom, we had this very large mirror that I didn't used to have to look at. And so 3 weeks ago, I was getting ready for a shower, and I took my shirt off, and I was like getting ready, and the shower just turned on, so there was no steam in the air. And I was talking to my wife or something, and I looked in the mirror, and I was like, hell no, bro. Like, I'm 5'8". I should be like 150 pounds. I used to be like 150, 160, right? I was 210 pounds, and I was like, oh my God, dude. I was embarrassed. And I was like, all right. It was the same kind of thought process I had with the drugs. I was like, I got to make some changes. And today I weighed myself, and I'm 203 now. So I've gotten like almost 8 pounds difference in 3 weeks. I've made some major changes, dude. And I'm like, I'm kind of having fun with it, dude. It's pretty crazy. It's funny, man. And any challenge in life, man, if you can get past the initial fear of trying it, I guess the fear of failure is so heavy. It's so hard to get over, man.
Well, they say the hardest part is getting started, man. And I definitely believe that. I also believe that growth comes from discomfort. So you got to put yourself out there and try things that make you uncomfortable so you can grow a little bit more. I'm constantly doing that, especially since being sober, man. I'm always doing things that used to make me real uncomfortable. Still do, but I have a confidence in myself now that I didn't have before when I was still drinking. So, which is super ironic, because when I was drinking because I felt like it made me more confident.
That's the trick, though.
But it's not. It was a lie. I lied to myself.
Dude, that's just a big facade that we tell ourselves, and it's. I think we're all essentially the same person inside when you get down to an addict of whatever kind. I mean, even work addicts. There's people that work. I used to be like that, man, and I have to like partition my day off now. I go, okay, I can do this for this time, this for this time. That's when my buddy changed the schedule around. I was like, oh, geez, man, it like really messed my head up, because I have like, I schedule my day to where I can have time with my kids. I have time to myself. I got time with my wife. I can cook, whatever, it's nice, man. But yeah, like getting started with anything is the hardest part, man. I mean,
because you're going to be bad at it.
Oh, dude, you're going to be terrible at it. The first day that I decided to not take drugs, I was terrified. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do all day? And my wife's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do all day. Like, I'm going to have hours and hours of time that used to be devoted to like trapping and like getting hitting licks and just going out and doing wild, stupid shit. And I'm like, so what am I going to do? She's like, I don't know if I can draw something. And I was like, oh shit. And like, dude, I screen print now. I paint. I do all kinds of stuff because I have all this time. It's wonderful.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Start a podcast, collect some records.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
I'm the same way, dude. I got like a fucking mental bandwidth and like time to spare. Like, it's wonderful.
Dude, I was telling somebody recently, yeah, man, I got all these records, and this is only a portion of them because it goes all the way around my wall. And I was like, dude, a few years ago, you couldn't have convinced me I'd had the money to go buy an album. You'd be like, hey, you'll get a record collection again one day. Don't worry. I'd be like, how? Like, just being a grown up and acting like one's kind of nice sometimes.
I agree, man. Yeah, it's
dude,
been good for me for sure. I'm glad it's been good for you too.
Right, that's fucking awesome, dude. I'm gonna be up in Austin this weekend for New Year's Eve. Are you gonna be at the? Oh wait, of course you are. Duh.
Oh, you're coming to the show at Tickfoot?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm coming up there. I'm gonna film it, hang out with Chris for a little while. So, stupid ass question, I guess. Huh? I told you my short term memory is really, really fucking terrible.
It's all good.
Even though I like recognized you, and when he told me, when he like sent me the link to your video, like I saw you and I knew that's who you were. And then I got confirmation from Chris, and then like 10 minutes later, I was like, "Hey, is that the same dude?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh shit, sorry." Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, I'm gonna come up and hang out for like a day and a half. I'm gonna hit some record stores and do some vlogging, make some content. So I'm gonna film the set and put that up on the channel.
Cool.
Unless there's any objections, of course.
No. We're also I'm playing an acoustic show on the 2nd if you're still around by then. But
yeah, what time of day?
It's a happy hour show.
Oh, nice.
Me and my buddy Mark Allen. Mark plays drums for the Revelry.
Okay.
He was also the singer for a band that I was in called Knockin' Bones, and Mark also plays drums in a band called Avenues. But Mark Allen and I are doing a acoustic happy hour show at Hole in the Wall from 6 to 8. So if you're around, come through.
6 to 8 on what, on
Tuesday? The 2nd.
Tuesday.
Yep. Yeah.
Let me okay with the wife as long as she's down. I don't care. I'm down for whatever, man.
If you're around, no big deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna be traveling to Austin a few times this year, so it's good to get to know some people again. Because once I left Austin, I didn't stay into contact. I knew all the dudes from the Crumb Bums. Don't really talk to them anymore. I didn't talk to David so much because he was always so damn busy. He still is. But like the rest of the guys, I used to hang out with those guys all the time. Do you remember a place? How long have you been in Austin?
Since 2008.
So that's got to be Red 7? Remember that place?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Me and Jared, man, like, oh, buddy. Yeah, a lot of fun times at that place, man.
I've had a couple myself.
Oh my goodness, dude. At one point, me and Jared were talking to the guy that owned the building about buying that place and then turning it into something else, like same kind of place, but like making it a better place. I assume it's like long gone, right?
The building is there. It turned into a place called Barracuda for a while. And then I don't know what it is now. I think it might be a comedy club. But I don't know.
That's cool.
I haven't been there in a while. Yeah.
Wait, that's not the place that Joe Rogan bought, right?
No, I think that place.
This place is much bigger. Okay, yeah. This place is real big. Okay, because last time I walked down the road on 7th, I think that place was painted black. Is that familiar or no?
The place that was Red 7?
Red 7, yeah. Did they paint it black at some point and put doors on the outside of it where you couldn't go into the alcove anymore?
Yeah, I think it was probably Barracuda at the time.
Okay, so that was. I always thought that was the same place, but I wasn't quite sure.
I think they did that, or maybe. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I haven't really been over there in a minute either.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun in Austin, but it was I wasn't, I guess, at that age, like in my early 20s and mid 20s, I wasn't built for that. My mom and dad wasn't around. Like my dad passed away when I was in high school, but my mom wasn't around. I had no like structure, I guess is the right word. And I moved up there for a terrible reason, dude. I moved to Austin for a girl, man. And I like quit my job, quit my band, moved up there. And
I've been there, bro.
I was thinking when you were saying about, whenever you had all that time, the first thing that I thought of was like, yeah, dude, idle hands, man, the devil's playthings, dude. And whenever you're bored, that is the easiest way to get yourself in some trouble. I try to say not bored as often as I possibly can.
I got all kinds of stuff going on all the time. I can't play in 5 bands anymore like I used to. That's a bit too much. But I think, aside from also having like time to do things and picking up all these new hobbies and stuff, I also have a sense of boundaries now. So like, I know what's too much for me.
That's a huge win to have that knowledge and then to recognize it.
Yeah. I got burnt out pretty hard after a while, man. I was going hard for a minute, too hard.
So outside of music, what is it that you like to do? Or I guess outside of playing music, do you collect records, I assume, right? You had mentioned that a little bit.
Not anywhere near like Clink does.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
I've got like 100 records, maybe. Like, I'm not really a collector.
That's still a fair amount, man. But yeah, I felt like a novice talking to him, dude. I was like, shit, man. I own a record store, bro, and I still was like, I don't know, man. I don't have like, I don't.
Yeah.
I think he's got more albums than I do in my shop, though, for real.
He's always turning me on to stuff. Like, for like a while there, he would buy me a record for my birthday or Christmas or just for whatever, because he liked buying records so much, and he already had records, so he wanted to get me this record. So like, he would always get me these records, and every now and then I would find a record that he didn't have I thought he would like, so I'd go buy him one record and I'd be excited about it, and then I'd show up and I'd give him a record and he'd give me two. I'm like, damn it.
Dude, that's hilarious. That feels like the kind of person that he is too, man.
I mean,
I've only
always
known him.
grateful. He's always turning me on to new music, and I do have a record for him right now that I'm going to give to him for his birthday. I'm not going to tell you because he'll probably listen to this, but
Yeah, no, definitely don't tell me anything, dude. That's bad. When is his birthday?
well, it was a couple of weeks ago. I just didn't have the record yet. Well, actually, when's this coming?
Okay.
This probably isn't going to come out for a while, huh?
No. I'll probably drop it on Monday because I'll be in Austin, so I won't have a way to put up anything. So it'll probably come out in about 6 days. So
okay, then I can tell you.
First.
I'm going to give him this record on the 28th. Have you ever listened to the St. Catharines?
No, what's that? I'm interested though.
They were a Fat Records band, the St. Catharines.
Really?
This one right here.
Okay, shit, dude. I've never even heard of them on a Fat Record. That's crazy.
Dancing for Decadence. They were on Fat Records. This record came out in 2006. This is a really sick record. They're a Canadian band, but it's a good record. You'll probably like
it. They're a Canadian band, but it's still good. Now, I know you didn't really mean it like that, but that shit was funny. Bro, that's awesome.
I love Canadians. Canadians make great music.
They do. They make a lot of good shit, man. Canadians are actually. There's a lot of YouTubers that I watch that I've recently discovered are all in fucking Canada. It's pretty weird. Yeah. I've only known Chris for a short while, but shout out to that guy for just being fucking nice, man. He's a nice dude, and that guy's got a wealth of knowledge in like pertaining to like music and stuff, and he's already turned me on to probably no less than like 6 bands that I actually genuinely love and will listen to indefinitely. And then like another 10 or 15 that are just solid bands. Like, and then I was all excited and hyped up when he mentioned Michael Caine. I was like, oh, fuck, I know that one. I was like, yes, dude, Michael Caine rules. That was one of those things where I felt all fucking red. It was so stupid, but it was fun.
It's great to have friends like that, man, introducing you to music. And he's, like you said, he's a wealth of knowledge. He's turned me on to so many different styles of music. One of my best friends. He's a big brother to me.
Fuck yeah. Dude, I work at Alamo Draft House part-time. That's where I bartend at. And I'm like the old guy, right? Everybody there is like half my age. And so they're always telling me, man, you know so much about music and you know everything, bro. And I'm like, bro, if you only knew. And I'll bring up people like Chris. And I've recently, since I'm getting to know him, I'm like, you got to talk to this dude, Chris. You think I know some shit? I was like, I don't know nothing, bro. I'm like, this guy, and I don't know how he recalls it. He just knows it. It's in the top of his head. Bam, bam, bam. And I'm like, doggone. But there's levels to this shit. And he has levels above me, man. That's awesome.
Just like you said, there's just so much, and it's constantly coming out. And I know there's issues with Spotify, but man, I've found out about so many cool bands because of Spotify. Just letting my playlist just kind of run. And then
I choose to not look at Spotify like that. I actively choose to not see the villainy there and to go, no, because like you just said, if it wasn't for Spotify, there's a lot of bands that I wouldn't have access to or wouldn't know at all. Yeah. And, everything comes at a cost. And that's the cost. The cost is monetary. But we have convenience and honestly luxury because it's really easy to discover new bands with that shit. It's not perfect, but what is, certainly not me. Do you have I know I asked you about some of your favorite bands earlier. Do you have any like go-to albums? I always try to ask people like their favorite shit because it's something I'm always interested in. Because mine have never changed, and I found that people's favorite stuff changes, and it blew my mind. I never understood that because my favorite is just my favorite. Like it just doesn't really change often. But I think I'm weird. So, do you have any like go-tos that you just constantly keep in rotation?
Yeah, probably. I think it's more bands though than
Okay,
records.
then particular albums.
Yeah. I mean, I listen to a variety of things. There's a handful of reggae records that are like on rotation all the time.
Nice.
Clink turned me on to Toots, and
Yeah.
I got some Jimmy Cliff records.
Nice.
The Bronx and None More Black and the Bouncing Souls are on very often. Do you like None
Always
More Black?
on. I don't know that I've ever heard them.
I think for the last like 5 years, my Spotify Wrapped, my top song has been this song, "Oh There's Legwork" by None More Black.
Hold on, I'm gonna look up their album art. That'll help me figure out if I've heard them or not.
None More Black, the singer from a band called Kid Dynamite, if you were familiar.
I know
with
that
Kid
band.
Dynamite.
I know Kid Dynamite.
The singer of Kid Dynamite started None More Black. They got signed to Fat Records and they put out a couple records.
Okay.
And they're just so good. I honestly think that they're one of, if not the most underrated band I've ever heard. They're just so good and nobody knows them. And it's a shame because they're fucking fantastic.
I will do something to fix some of that.
Yeah, they're one of my things. Like I said, Toots and the Bronx and Bouncing Souls comes on a lot. Yeah, stuff like that.
That's the good shit, though.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about Spotify, maybe like they seem to know the things that I like and they just play that on repeat. So sometimes I gotta like go out and find stuff on my own. But I've also gotten into like Dead to Me over the last couple of years. It took a while for some reason. I loved One Man Army, but
that's my second favorite band of all time.
One Man Army is fucking great. And then I always knew about Dead to Me, but for some reason it didn't click. And then over the last like 2 or 3 years, I'm like, oh, I get it. And then I started digging in.
I like Dead to Me quite a bit, but I like the Revolts and was it Toy Guitar? I like that stuff.
I never listened to the Revolts.
Oh, dude, it's RE-Volts. You should check them out, man. If you like Jack Dalrymple's vocals, man.
I do.
Yeah, dude, he's got
so much.
Man, I know, right? I'm so glad you said that. I love his vocals. I mean, Rancid is my favorite band, but I think that Jack's my favorite singer, bro. His voice is everything that he sings. I just go, yeah, like,
dude, I know.
He's probably One Man Army is probably the second or third most impactful show I ever went to, and it was in a tiny ass place with like 150 people, but it was so good that it changed like my trajectory, bro. Like I went to that show and I was like super into like rockabilly and psychobilly shit for a while. And I went there to see the Necromantics and I didn't really know who One Man Army was. And I went there fully intending on spending my last $20 on Necromantics gear. And I tell you, I left with a One Man Army shirt. And
hell yeah.
So I lost everything in that stupid ass flood a couple years back. And so I don't have any of my old shirts or anything, but I went and it took me a long time to find the artwork for this One Man Army shirt that I'd bought. And I finally found it like a few months back and I made myself a little bootleg shirt. Screen print and shit. So I made him a shirt. I kept the strings. I thought, man, I might want to put this on a hoodie or something, but yeah. Fucking I love that band, dude. They're so good.
Send me the image. Maybe I'll send you a shirt and pay for it so you can make me one too.
Bro, I'll just make you one and bring it. What size you wear?
Small.
Yeah, I'll bring you a shirt. Hey, let me write that down so I don't forget. Yeah, I got you, bro. I'm gonna see you on Sunday night, right? Sunday night.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude, for sure. I'm bringing a couple shirts for Chris as well. So
cool, man.
Let's see, just so I don't forget. Yeah, I gotta go print some stuff. Dude, I buy shirts in bulk, so you ain't gotta give me nothing, dude. Just hang out. You know what I'm saying? Dude, hell yeah, I can't wait to come up to Austin, man. How many record stores are up there? Do you know by any chance? I'm trying to hit a couple places. Yeah, you know, is there any good ones up there? Do you know about?
I mean, there's End of an Ear, Waterloo. I got a friend who owns a record store who's got some pretty good stuff.
Oh, nice.
Shit, what's the name of the record store? I'll have to look it up and tell you.
Okay. What it is. Yeah, no worries.
I'm not.
I forgot you said you're not like really into like buying records and shit. Like since I am, I bring it up all the time. My apologies.
I buy records, but like just every now and then. I'm almost always buy if a touring band comes through.
For sure. No, I love that. That's my favorite shit is to buy stuff off of touring bands because then you end up getting just better shit anyways. Like, I don't know. I like buying stuff off a touring artists. But when I come up there, one of the things that I was hoping to do is like try to make a little bit of content out of the trip because I feel weird leaving my house and not working. And my wife's like, just go film a bunch of shit. You'll feel better about it. I'm like, yeah. So that's when I was like, I'll just film a set. I'll go do some record shopping. I'll stay a little longer and do some of that stuff. And that'd be fucking
get a cup
dope.
of coffee, man, and have a part 2 of this.
Oh, absolutely, man. I would love to do that, dude. It's been a super fucking awesome time hanging out with you. Yeah, man. Let me ask you a couple last questions, dude. One I alluded to earlier. What are some bands that are friends of yours, people that you either listen to and like or that you personally know that people need to pay attention to? Give me a couple of them that I don't give a shit. 30 if you know them off the top of your head. But as many bands as you want to talk about.
Well, I definitely want to give a shout out to Despero. There's a collective here called Stars at Night. They book shows and they got a bunch of bands on there. Despero has been one of my favorite bands. I mean, a little biased because I am playing bass for them at the moment, but I'm not the original bass player, and I think they're going to be finding somebody else too, just because I got other things going on. But I absolutely love Despero. They're one of my favorites.
How do you spell it?
Despero. They've got an EP coming out at some point.
Okay.
Despero's great. It's like hardcore.
Okay.
Super intricate, like guitar work and drum stuff, but very melodic vocals.
Nice.
Yeah. And more from Stars at Night, there's a band called Astrogat. Astrogat is like a 80s goth synth pop kind of band. They're super cool, man. They're my buddy Adam is like the brainchild behind it. It's really dark and like moody and like synthy. If you're into that kind of stuff,
I am into that kind of stuff.
It's super cool. He's got a really like bassy voice. It's really rad. And what I particularly like about it, I mean, the melodies and just the vibe in general is good, but I really like that he's part of this collective, or they are a part of this collective. Adam, my friend Cam, and my buddy Will. But they don't sound like anybody else in this collective just because they're this like synth pop thing.
That's dope.
They're always putting stuff out. I think he just put out a single recently. So
dude,
if you're into that kind of stuff, check that out. I got my buddy Mark Allen Prince. He does acoustic stuff. And like I was saying before, him and I are doing an acoustic show at Hole in the Wall. He's going on tour in May with my buddy Alberto, who does acoustic stuff. His acoustic thing is called Red at Night.
It's called what?
Red at Night.
Okay.
R-E-D.
Red.
He's been doing a bunch of stuff in Germany. He's based in Berlin.
Nice.
So those two are going on tour together. Mark also plays drums for a band called Avenues in Milwaukee. They put out a record a year or two ago, I think. They've got like a real they're a pop punk band for sure. They've kind of got like a Lillingtons sort of vibe.
Ooh, hell yeah.
Yeah, they're a really, really good band. Mark's a great drummer too.
I think I might have heard of Avenues actually. Let me look at their cover art real quick. Sorry to interrupt.
That's all good. They do fairly big things, so they're always out there getting it. Yeah, I don't know. That's there's all kinds of stuff going on. I can't think of anything else offhand right now.
That's awesome. No, that's perfect, man. It gives us a few things to go dig into and listen to and check out. I'll be checking out Despero. Does Despero have anything released currently?
They've got 2 full lengths on Spotify.
Okay, that's what I thought you had mentioned earlier. I just wanted to double check on that. Dude, yeah. Astrogat, hell yeah, dude. I would love to go dig into some of this stuff. I'll check out Mark Allen Prince is what it goes by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Dude, I'll look into all this stuff, man. I can assure you of that. Now, when I'll get it up on a channel, I have no idea, but I will look into it and give it some listens and some support, man. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, check out Red at Night too if you're into the acoustic stuff.
Okay, yeah, I wrote that one down too.
And then of course, Generation Exit.
Fuck yeah, dude! I'm so like bewildered about how I got into this situation with them because I just like offhandedly mentioned like my label. Like I don't know. I wasn't trying to like shoehorn my way into anything. And Chris was like, fuck yeah, we would love to have tapes. I'm like, oh shit, all right, let's go. Because I had my tape label has like I have like a funds spot where I put extra money and it's where it goes, you know. And so I had the money ready to go immediately. So he sent me the art and everything, and he's so professional, man. He got all of it to me like in one go. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so easy. And I just like, here, guys. I was like, here, add my logo, my little catalog number to the spine, and then we're good to go. And he did it, and we sent it off, and I'm just waiting now. We got 100 copies on red, and then we have a label exclusive 31 copies on a different color that I'll show people when it comes in. But I'm really proud to just be associated with this in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah. Dude, I was just listening to Born to Lose yesterday. I fucking still listen to that band. I listen to Nowhere Bound all the time still.
Yeah.
Dude.
Born to Lose comes on my Spotify often too.
That's awesome. Man, I fuck with Nowhere Bound too. Okay, so I was into Born to Lose before I met my wife, right? I've been with her for about 13 years now. Holy shit. Our anniversary just passed and neither of us even brought it up. Oh man, I should go talk to her about that in a minute. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh, bro. Both of us are really bad at this shit. We love each other. That's all that matters. But so I was into Born to Lose, you know, before I even knew her. And I was like, I remember I was talking to Chris about how I was like strung out in the back of a Honda Civic hatchback listening to Sweet Misery, and it was the only thing keeping me fucking from going crazy. And so I was already a big fan of that shit. And I don't know how she's the one that discovered Nowhere Bound. She goes, hey, isn't this a guy that you like listening to? And I saw his picture and I was like, hey, I know that dude's face. And because I had played a show with him or two, and I think just one in Austin, but I've been to a bunch of them. And I was like, what's it called? She's like, Nowhere Bound. I was like, oh no, it must be a different guy. And she's like, oh, okay. And then it's like a few minutes later, she goes, no. It's a new band, dude. It's like the same guy from Born to Lose. And I was like, what? And I heard it. I was like, fuck yeah, man. So there's like this connection that her and I have.
Yeah, symbiotic.
With that band. And I really appreciate that it exists because it might be one of the first punk things that she was ever into, man. Like, she's a country girl, man. Yeah, dude. She's a normie, dude. She was never into any of this shit. Like, all the stuff she's into now is only because of me. And she likes it. She genuinely enjoys a lot of it. And there's some of it she doesn't care for, but she really likes a lot of it. She loves Rancid. She likes Nowhere Bound, Born to Lose. Most of the stuff that's on Epitaph, Hellcat, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, dude, it's fucking anniversary, dude. All right, brother. Man, it's been awesome, dude. If you want to do this again at some point, you just say the word, and I'm always down to talk with people, cool. Especially people that I'm becoming friends with. And as soon as as a matter of fact, you said springtime for your record, huh?
Yeah, we'll probably have a single out in the next month or two.
Excellent. I will absolutely. Okay, then what I would like to propose is that when that happens, let me review it, and then we jump back on and talk again about maybe more focus the conversation on the record if you want.
Sounds good.
Some song titles, what the content of the songs are and such. But
I love that.
Dude, getting to know you has been a pleasure, man. I appreciate it. I will see you this weekend. Is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, man, I think I'm good. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It's always a
good
time having these kinds of conversations.
Dude, it flew by, bro. Like, so fast.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So, thank you so much, man. And I will keep in touch. I will see you this weekend, and we will do this again.
Sounds good, my dude. I'll see you then.
Awesome, man. Later, bud.
Have a good night.